thick grey fog swirling around you. Cold, damp air biting at your lungs. Gudrun's long locks dripping with the moisture. Gert's burning torch casting flickering shadows in the gloom. The cold bites into your toes as you peer into the grey fog. Is that Esteldor or Arthaniel ahead? No. It's a tall stack of bones and skulls, warning against going further, as if you needed telling. Barnak's grip on his axe tightens as a shape looms into view. This time it is one of the rangers you met in the heat of battle back in the graveyard of Bree. The younger of the two, Esteldor, his fine sword drawn. He motions you to be silent and follow him. 2 days you have been tracking the troll. 2 days of hard travel, not helped by the petulance of the young Breelander Thomas who is accompanying you. The thin veneer of wanting to recover his stolen uncle bodies was sustained for an hour, maybe 2, and now all he talks about is recovering the treasure map, and then recovering the treasure. Slowly, you advance. Esteldor on the edge of the globe of white light from the torch. Thomas advancing to be beside him. Knelt in the shadow of a huge cairn of bones is the other ranger, Arthaniel. The spear that dug deep into the troll's hide rests by his hand, and he signals. Over there, slumped on a seat of stone at the entrance to a cave set in a rising cliff. Breathing heavily, eyes closed, there's a huge troll. Huge, strong, old, canny, vicious. Next to it, a skin of wine and the least part of a roasted goat. And there, that huge club like a tree trunk that you really do not want to get hit by. Arthaniel quickly whispers a plan of action. Esteldor and I will take the lead. Hold on a minute. What's that fool kid doing? Thomas! Thomas! He won't be sleeping. Let it go! Let it go! Save me! Ah! Save me! The youngster Thomas gripped in the strong arms of the huge, muscular stone troll. Arthaniel was right. It wasn't sleeping, and now it has Thomas in one arm and its club in the other. Now I have 2 kids to eat. Feeling slightly smug at its pen, it roars out into the fog, showing its fierce teeth, its bulbous nose and its bloodshot eyes. The smell of rot, sweat, urine, strong from the cave. You can barely see, but the troll shows a fresh wound from your battle in the graveyard. One of Gudrun's arrow shafts sticks out of its thick hide, and the deep gash from Arthaniel's spear in its flank. The fatigue that was upon you from the days of chasing the creature drops away. You've cornered it in its lair. Shit! You've got it cornered in its lair and it's fighting for its life! You gather your weapons. What are you all doing? Arthaniel raced forward, Esteldor doing the same. Different directions, they stumbled across the uneven ground. They were not even halfway there when Gudrun stepped forward. She said timidly. There's not good eating on that little boy. I can show you where there's some fattened sheep. The troll was confused. He didn't quite see Barnak racing forward, grabbing hold of Thomas's foot, trying to drag him to safety. So just to recap, Arthaniel, Esteldor, you race in from 2 directions. There's a crunching of bones underfoot. Arthaniel kind of like knocks over one of the towering skull columns of bone. It comes tumbling down. Barnak, following under, has grabbed hold of Thomas. Thomas is kind of like not really helping. He's like fighting the troll. He's almost fighting you a little bit. Gudrun kind of like behind, stringing
Thomas, get yourself together.
Yeah, okay. So what I think we'll do is we'll resolve Arthaniel and Esteldor first, then we'll do Barnak, Gert, Gudrun. Okay. So Arthaniel, you kind of like racing forward, spear out, make an attack.
Yeah, so he's going for a little bit of heroics, whether this is a new party and he wants to prove himself, or he really feels that he knows all the trolls and everything about them. But he's being very bold in his stance, but he also wants to get some inspiration from his bold feature.
I'm sure that he would. This is very bold. It's very brave, so I will allow it to go.
There is a thought in his head that, this is a dangerous situation. He wants to save the kid, and he's hoping that, he heard many years ago that there was someone that killed a troll with a one shot. He has a spear. He wants to invoke this trait, and I will spend a point of hope as well to get some, basically a one shot. It could end badly, but it's you don't risk, you don't get. So. Okay, so I'll make an attack. I do have a technical question, though, and please bear with me. So I have a virtue called Dour-handed, and it says that when I do a special attack, if you have a heavy blow, you get +1 strength, and if you have a pierce attack, a special attack, you can get +1 to the feat die. But when I look into the section about special attacks, this is page 101, by the way, in the core book. So on page 101, it says if it's a special attack, this is just a description of the pierce attack. If you spend one of your Tengwars for this special attack, you get +1 to the numerical value of the feat die, +2 if you're doing that with a bow, and +3 if you're doing this with a spear. So my question is this: if I get a Tengwar and want to spend it for a pierce attack, does the dour hand make it a +4?
+4, yeah.
Okay, so it stacks, which is nice. Okay.
It just means that your attack turn into a piercing blow with 6, 7, 8, 9, and obviously 10, and the Tengwar and Gandalf rule.
Yeah. Okay. Is that okay then, Paul? So I'm hoping to get +4 on the. Okay, so my attack is my spear is 3, and I've spent point of hope, so I get +2 extra because of the inspiration and the special. Yeah. So on the feat die, I have 4. I don't have any Tengwar, which is bad. I mean, it's not bad, but I think it's a hit. Okay, let's do the maths. So this is 15 for the hit. Sorry, do I get another one for the attack? Yes, for the stance?
Forward stance. Yes, 1 die.
So one more. So I'm going to reroll one more. Yeah, it's a 1, so it's great. 16. So I have basically the 1s and 2s, but it's 16 attack.
Okay. So
and
that
now
will hit, won't it? Because that meets your target number.
Do you have to add the parry number, the parry of the troll?
You do have to add the parry of the troll, which has no parry.
That's good.
It's I don't think it matters because it's just it doesn't work.
Yeah.
The feat die is too low. And I don't have any Tengwars.
Okay, so describe to us the attack, Arthaniel.
We just really hope that he will get that, special spot, maybe somewhere under his, try to get under the rib cage to get some vital organs or maybe an artery. But I think he misstepped on one of the bones and the hit just went for a normal sort of body. So it was like a very focused attack, pierce forward, but didn't quite connect, and it just I guess I hit him, but it threw me off because it's definitely not what I wanted to do.
Okay, how much damage does that do? That lands you?
Yeah, so that is just 4 damage.
Yeah. Okay. Esteldor coming in from the other side, you see that the intent face. Arthaniel, frustration as he kind of like spear doesn't dig as deep as he expected to. Barnak fighting both Troll and Thomas. Come, just let me get you. Gudrun, bow strung, arrow up. Gert, ready. What happens for Esteldor?
I'm gonna swing with my longsword, but I'm gonna do it two-handed.
Yep.
I think that just increases the injury roll I believe.
Yeah.
So,
I have no great system mastery. I look to you guys to know the rules as much as I do, if I'm entirely honest.
So I've got 2d6 normally, and I've got my extra one for my stance.
Mm-hmm.
I've got 20 altogether, which I've got a 10 and 13.
Yeah.
And I've got a 6 on the one d6.
Yep.
16,
Okay.
d16.
Yep.
6 is with the sword. So then, what is your feat dice roll?
9.
9. Then you can, if you want, you can spend a Tangwer to turn your roll into a piercing die. Or maybe, having handed your sword with 2 hands, maybe you got the same effect of the door ended that Nick was.
Yeah, I can do the special damage that I've got with my sword. It's heavy blow, fend off, or pierce. It says.
Pierce, I think, is this if you want.
Yeah. So what did you get on the feat die? You rolled a 9, did you say?
I rolled a 9, yeah.
So
yeah.
if you were to spend that Tangor to gain the pierce, that would make that a 10, which would therefore kind of like become a piercing blow. So it would have to roll its protection basically against your injury of the sword. And given that the sword is a fell weapon,
The sword is 18 because it's handed 2 hand.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and it's also fell-handed. I've got as a reward.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to do that. Yeah.
Okay. So Esteldor comes in from the side. Arthaniel's kind of like got at him. Esteldor two-handed. Describe to us how Esteldor swings this attack.
I suppose he'd probably be running up like a pile of bones and like jump at the troll and slash downwards. It's one of its arms.
Yeah. Okay. And it's going against 20 on its protection test as you kind of slice into the thick, kind of like huge chunk of muscle and that is its arm. So I'm going to be counting Gandalfs for the enemies as the opposite.
Means 0.
Yes, that's exactly right. So the Gandalf and 3 2s mean that you definitely score a piercing blow against it. As your whole body weight kind of comes crashing down, you're in forward stance. You're not trying to like do anything other than get at this thing. You're leaping through the air, feet kicking away, kind of like you kind of smash into it, almost like with the whole of your body behind the sword as it bites into the arm. The troll screams. It kind of half drops Thomas before kind of like pulling it slightly out of the way. Barnak was just about to grab him. He's just wrenched away as he kind of like screams in anguish. Yeah! I'm going to have to kill you all and then go for the sheep, aren't I? It's still there, but its blood is dripping thick from the wound. Instinctively, it pushes you away. You kind of skid down a little bit onto the ground as you fall there. Barnak, you kind of like reseat yourself, trying to kind of grab at Thomas because of you. So you can. This will be a favoured roll of athletics to kind of like grab at it, but also I'll give you a +1 dice because the troll is kind of like also kind of so deeply wounded in its other arm.
All right. Okay, can I burn a hope on top of that as well? Because I really hope this succeeds. So, okay, of course you have to drop everything on the floor. So that is just a regular success. It's 15 over 13.
Okay, so you grab at Thomas and you kind of like wrench at his feet. Ow! Kind of like pull half of his kind of like breeches and kind of grab his leg as you kind of like pull him down. He kind of like lands on top of you, scrabbles away instinctively. There's no thanks. There's no kind of like gratitude at all there.
Yeah.
But you kind of like manage to kind of like rescue him and get him out of safety. You kind of like push back yourself, moving away from the flailing of the troll. Anything else that you
I guess I'll hold like a shield.
Yeah, you kind of shield up there, is kind of smashed down as the troll kind of like hits you like that. Okay. What were you doing, Gert? Sorry, which stance were you moving into?
I was in open stance, just as a general. I saw the opening moves. I saw Esteldor get a nice hit on that arm, and so Gert's going to try and maneuver himself to get a shot on that arm. The thing that Gert knows is that once you find a weakness, you've got to attack it. So he moves around trying to get a shot on that arm. Maybe lop it off. We'll see. And he's going to use a point of hope because everyone's watching and he's told everyone how great he is. So it's been heavily implied that he's great by many people. So we'll see. We'll see. Usually when the dice are on the line for any of my characters, it's a huge failure. So let's do this. Oh, so I rolled exactly my target number and I got a Tingwar, which is why Discord broke. So I got a 17. That's my target, and I got a Tingwar on top of it, and my axe is actually I get a piercing blow on a 9, but I actually got a 9 on the feet dice. So does that mean I spin the Tingwar and I get a piercing blow on this?
So if you get a piercing blow on a 9, then it essentially counts as a piercing blow. So you can spend the Tingwar normally.
Okay. So and my options on that are, if I've already got a piercing blow,
so you can.
Is there a way for me to pass that Tingwar?
I don't think so.
Okay, so it's all a personal thing?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So I guess I'll just... So
you could turn it into a heavy blow.
Yeah, I think I'll do that.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So the injury roll on this is an 18.
18. Okay. Let's see if we can do better than it did last time. 7. That's 12. 19.
Ooh.
Close. So you're going to do, how much damage do you do?
6.
Plus your strength rating, is it, from the heavy? So you would do 9 because of the heavy.
9.
Yeah.
Right.
And Esteldor.
Gert's kind of shocked at how effective his attack was. It's kind of, and then he catches himself, and yes, this is classic Gert.
Okay, so Gert has kind of come in with his long hafted axe, taken a swing at the same arm, got a really good hit. Kind of like slightly surprised and taken aback by it. He kind of like starts high-fiving himself already. Okay, Gudrun. This is all opened out in front of you now. Thomas is scrambling away towards the cave. Barnak is kind of like with his shield, slightly distracted by the troll. Arthaniel, Esteldor, Gert are all kind of like gathered around the troll at various stages of fight.
Oh, Gudrun is aiming at the troll and trying to find the right spot, the right line of sight, so that there is no danger to hit accidentally his companions. So I think she could roll a battle roll to find the right spot.
Yep.
Can I?
Yep.
Oh, and okay, is a success without Tengwer for a battle roll. It means. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I think it means that she found the right spot where to lose her arrow, and then she loses it. I don't know if I can use if I can get a bonus die for my battle roll.
Yeah. Okay.
For this attack.
Yeah.
Although in this case, she loses her arrow, and we will see if she gets something, if she gets him or not.
Yeah.
Okay. Is a 10, so it's a piercing blow with a 6. That is so the damage is 4 plus 4, so 8 damage. Plus a piercing blow, it means protection roll against 16 for a great bow.
The arrow.
He tried to aim to the eye of the troll to blind him.
The arrow sails. Barnak gets a great view of it as it comes into this soft socket of the eye. Yeah! Arthaniel behind sees the arrowhead through the skull. Esteldor feels the whole thing starting to sway. Gives it a bit of a kick. Realises it's kicked it towards Gert. Gert rolls out of the way. The troll smashes into the ground, driving the arrow further into his head. Blood coming out of its nose. Dirt, skulls swirling through the fog, and you all hear the piercing howl of wolves around you. Thomas scrambling off into the cave. The map! I'm going to get the map!
Old kid, you got your life. You have to be contented.
Whatever wisdom may be contained in Gudrun's words has fallen on deaf ears as Thomas goes into the darkness. The troll body twitches a little. Where the arrow came through his skull, blood dribbles down. The club tumbles away. What are you doing, guys?
I think I'm very impressed by that shot. The shot Gudrun made. Look at the troll's head and the arrow. I wiped off my sword as well.
Esteldor raises up 8.6 on the spell cards.
Well, Gert's motivation is to protect the people of Bree, and one of the dumbest people of Bree has just wandered off into the wolf-infested moors by himself in the dark. So I'm going to try and rally everyone. As impressive as that shot was, he will definitely weave quite the tale about it once they're back in the prancing pony by the fire, having a pint. But right now, he understands that this kid's gonna get himself killed, and his and this kid's uncle was a friend of Gert's, and it wouldn't sit right with him if he allowed that to happen. So he just kind of says, "That's a wonderful shot, Gudrun. Probably never going to get that arrow back, but we've got to hurry." And kind of like
exactly what I was saying. Oh, Barnak, could you catch him before it put in danger himself another time?
I have very short legs, but I can certainly try.
As will become established. As will become established, dwarves are apparently good for sprinting, not for long distance work. As Barnak hightails off into the cave.
Don't forget to breathe, Barnak. Keep breathing.
No.
But we have to head down.
But I do know holes in the ground, and I perhaps try to navigate us through.
Paul, did you say the boy ran off into the fog or
No,
into the cave?
The cave.
Yeah, so I have to follow him.
Okay, Arthaniel. So everybody's moving towards the cave, in essence.
yes.
Before we get all into the cave, Gudrun said to Nathaniel, "Well, I think I heard wolf howling around here. Maybe someone should kindle a fire here to protect herself. I don't. Maybe the flesh of the troll is enough to have this foul beast fed. However, what do you think? Maybe you are hunter more proved than me."
How big is the cave? I mean, I understand that we're in a big room and there's another entrance to there's a passageway leading somewhere.
So where you are at the moment, where Gudrun's talking to you, you're at the entrance to the cave. The entrance to the cave is big enough for the troll, so it's probably about 10 foot across, maybe 12 foot high. You can't see much into it. Barnak and Esteldor are already kind of like advancing past you into that in any case. Gert's coming alongside. You can't see much more than that at this moment in time. You heard the howling of the wolves. And now that you pause a little bit, you can kind of like pick up a little bit some of the and padding of soft feet kind of like gathering around. But you don't really have a great sense of what's within the cave from where you are.
No, of course. So look, this kid has caused us enough problem as it is, and I really don't want to see him killed. So I have to follow him. If the wolves will come, we'll deal with them later. But at the moment, maybe there's a bigger danger. So I in a kind of a gentle way, I want to say, look, I want to follow the kid just to make sure that he has someone to protect him.
Arthaniel's basically saying that as he's kind of like turning and moving towards the cave, is he walking and talking, clearly only got one thing in mind. Gudrun, it occurs to you that you're kind of getting a little bit isolated outside now.
Fair enough. But there is a trunk here, and Gudrun is quite bold, and so well, go on. I'm following, and then she turn back and start to try to kindle a fire before to go.
Yeah. Okay.
So to protect their back, in fact.
Yeah. Okay.
So in his mind, in her mind as well, at least.
Yeah. Okay. So it would make sense that because you kind of went back to Bree, you got provisions, and you're on a journey now, that you would have kindling and fire making kits with you. so you fairly easily, fairly quickly kind of get a fire going. It doesn't take a particular role, given that you've travelled across from Dale, you've had to set fires. I'm perfectly happy to accept this will be an every skill set. So you're going to start to kind of like pitch your fire. Whereabouts are you doing
Yes.
this? So you got the cave, you got the troll, you kind of got the surrounding area. Gert, which is what's your pony called? Bert, which is Gert's pony, is kind of like heard all of this and is kind of nervously shuffling closer and closer towards the cave. So Gudrun, where are you settling the fire?
I set the fire straight in the entrance, in front of the entrance of the cave, and put all our horses and ponies and try to summon and collect them, and put right into the entrance of the cave. So to put in the fire between the supposed wolves and the horses and ourselves.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. And I'll point out that Bert is a Bree pony and will enter into caves and dangerous places and will probably be beneficial in making sure the other animals, or are there any other animals, or was it just?
Yes, it's my horse, my mane.
Okay.
With me.
So yeah, Bert is definitely a helper in that case. So there's no trouble in getting him into the cave. He's also very sensitive to self-preservation. So
yeah. So the two animals kind of like Gert kind of taking the lead. Maine is a little bit more skittish about going into the darkness with all the smells and such like, but with Bert's support as like a support animal, a therapy animal, I don't know what to call them, kind of like helps in. Gudrun's out there kind of like starting this fire, kind of getting this going, getting from the pack all the kit needed, getting the kindling out, the flintstone out. You can hear, not close, but close enough, the kind of like snarling of some wolves. And in the cave opens out into a single room. Gert's torch starts to illuminate the dark shadows of the area. Thomas is gathered over the hempen sack upon which his uncle's corpse was, and he's trying to kind of open it and pull it open a little bit. He's not quite able to find the opening to be able to kind of get it open. But there's detritus throughout this troll cave, and it smells. You can't help but gag a little. Half-eaten food. It looks to be a coffin rather than a sack across in one corner, and various rubble and rubbish kind of thrown off, fairly deep with skeletal remains. It's got to be in here. It's got to be in here. Oh, bloody hell.
Let me help you. Let me help you look for it, so I can offer him help. Use some skills to help him.
Yeah. You kind of like come alongside. You start to kind of like now look, just grab the other end. Kind of like you're starting to kind of like open that. What's everybody else doing?
Okay. I'm just gonna whisper to the group, hopefully out of earshot of Thomas, and say, I think we are all in agreement that for young Thomas here to learn his lesson, he shouldn't be able to find the treasure map, right?
I'm
Yes.
happy to not
Yes.
without uttering the word. But yes.
His uncle would not have approved of this behavior.
At this stage, Thomas is kind of like got one end of the hempen sack and he's just pulling at it, and the grey, slightly bloated, bashed remains of his uncle kind of like starting to get pulled out. The sack has kind of like got seeping dark stains of blood kind of like on it, and the lolling head of his uncle, where it looks like the journey has caused the neck to snap. Thomas is going through his uncle's burial clothes.
Just
Gert absolutely is not going to stand for this. He steps in immediately. Says, "You need to show some respect. Your uncle was a great man. He deserves dignity. Look at him. Look at his face.
Thomas
Calm yourself, Thomas."
looks down at the face, the eyes smashed, the nose bent asunder, the jaw it kind of like, it's almost like you've just brought him to his senses. Like, yeah. And then a little bit more gently, he starts pulling away at the sack.
Paul, could I have a little walk around the cave and just see if I can notice anything?
Yes.
Can I do a roll?
Okay. Make a search roll.
I'll help you with that, actually.
Barnak helps as well. So if Barnak was to spend a point of hope, he would give you an extra dice.
Thank you. Is it going to be a scan roll or?
Oh, they did away with search, didn't they? So it is
yeah.
a scan roll. Yes, sorry. That is going to happen more than once in this campaign. Let me tell you.
Okay.
Yeah, scan roll. There's clearly a coffin, and there's clearly like bits of rubble, so you're kind of like walking through that.
I've got Gandalf rune on the D12.
Very nice. That's an automatic success. Did you get any Tenguars?
Oh, I've got 6 on the D6s, but a 5 and a 1. Sorry.
Oh, okay, yeah.
5 and a 1.
So it's a normal success. It's an automatic success. It's a normal quality of success. Given that there's kind of like not masses of time pressure, and you and Barnak are together, you're going to kind of find a host of things. So, Arthaniel, you're with Thomas and Gert, kind of like basically distooming Uncle. Gudrun's out. The fire's kind of starting to get going a little bit now. You're starting to feed it with some of the larger pieces of wood from the smaller kindling to kind of like get it established. Esteldor and Barnak are kind of like searching through. So what are you gonna? So Gert and Arthaniel, the body is fully out of the sack.
Mm-hmm.
Thomas is tentatively kind of like patting it down, looking up at you guys for a little bit of what's the boundary here. He's trying to push the boundary, and now he's starting to reach into an inside jacket pocket. It's kind of like going through.
Gert is going to gently brush his hand away as best he can from a manic 13, 14-year-old who's clearly has, the gold fever upon him, and kind of says, "Thomas, please. In good time, you shall have your birthright that your uncle has promised you. However, you must be patient. You must let us help. You must step away. We will do this with dignity." And so I try to maneuver my friend's dead body into a more appropriate position, and if sack, I can kind of drape it over.
Yeah, Thomas.
The worst parts.
Thomas is kind of like moved back a little bit now, and is kind of like sulking a little bit. He kind of goes to help Barnak and Esteldor in the way. So he just moves items from one flat space to another flat space and claims he's tidied up. And Arthaniel and Gert, you guys kind of like now are able to more sensitively pat down the cup.
Yeah.
I'll just quietly say we are still getting him to give the uncle a proper burial once we get rid of the wolves and trolls and God knows what else is here.
Absolutely.
Okay. So
And he will do
Esteldor,
it himself, obviously, with our help, but he will do it himself.
yeah. Esteldor, you found through the rubble at the back of the room, you kind of like got a merchant's purse covered in dirt and filth and what could be troll shit, frankly. But it's got some heft to it. There looks to be amongst the animal bones. There looks to be a more humanoid set of bones, consistent with either maybe a stocky child, possibly a dwarf. They look as if they've been picked quite clean. Again, there's like a necklace of gold. There's like a pile of shinies. A necklace made of gold. There's a woman's ring attached to the woman's finger. The finger kind of like blackened and blue. There's a box, really well made, scuffed, but it looks to be kind of like oak with ebony inlaid upon it. Really kind of like square, very, very geometric patterns upon it. You recognise it's dwarf made, but not masses more than that, and it's about yay by yay. And then there's another box, which is again well wrought without the decoration. Kind of opening that up, you can see it's got some jewels in, some rings and whatnot. And then there's this coffin, and kind of there's a brass plaque written on it that says Dreyfus Longshanks.
Dreyfus Longshanks.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll probably show Barnak the dwarven boxes with the jewels in and things.
Yeah.
I'll hand them to him.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, he's a dwarf.
Yeah.
Barnak, what do you think of these?
Yeah, is it something that I would recognize, like the patterns and the ornaments?
Yeah, this is
like where it would be from.
Yeah, this is straight out of Tinker's Alley in Dale, and it's a little puzzle box. And these kind of boxes, you would ordinarily have to trigger something to open them up. And you can see set on the top of it, there's a number of there's a square set in the top, and there's a number of small tiles that you can kind of move around, one of which is a different colour from the rest. And it's one of those puzzles where you kind of got to move the shapes to be able to navigate, the other coloured tile kind of like down to the bottom. They're of uncommon make, but they definitely kind of come straight out of Dale, straight out of Tinker's Alley in Dale. Gudrun's fire is warming her quite nicely. And she's kind of like just stretching her hands out and taking the edge of the fingers, the cold in the fingers. The troll's body twitches slightly.
She's reflecting on this sweet troll kill that she just.
And she used also the rest of the fire that troll used to burn his skateboard. And then she listened to the noise of the surrounding area from the wolves, maybe try to understand how much distance is between the wolves and her. She is a talented hunter, in fact, because her father trained her in the hunting, and so maybe she can understand something about that. In the meanwhile, she cry a voice to her companions. How is there indeed? Therein? Have you found anything useful? I think we have some wolf here approaching. Oh, please, hurry up.
Make a hunting roll, Gudrun. And
okay.
You guys hear Gudrun chatting from outside. You also hear the kind of crackle of some of the moisture in the wood and the flames kind of going. You can smell now a little bit of that kind of wood smoke as it's coming into the cave.
All right. Hearing that, then I guess we pack away the puzzle box and don't try to figure it out just That's where we take home.
Yeah.
And try to get safe.
Does anybody reply back to Gudrun?
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
I make a Tengua, but my roll is 14, so 2 under my target number. So if it is not a success with woe, is a failure.
Yeah, you can't quite establish exactly how close the wolves are from where you are at the moment.
Maybe.
Yeah, but the troll body
we're almost done. Sorry, I'm just shouting back that we're almost done. And I'm just checking with Gert. Are you okay to carry on? Perhaps I would make myself more useful to be on the front with Gudrun to check up on the wolves. If you're
yes,
okay.
Yes, that's fine. He was my friend. I'll do this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
So I will just make my way back. I'm a bit, worried that if we have wolves approaching, we need to be trying to control this.
Yeah. Okay. In the tucked in the shin of one of the boots, you find a leather, a parchment, something like that, map. You kind of rolled up around your shin. You kind of can pull that out, Gert. Arthaniel, you kind of like go out and you can see the troll body twitching slightly, and Gudrun kind of like across the this side of the troll body, and you can kind of make out both of you, kind of some wolves just tugging away, trying to pull it. A couple more wolves come in and start pulling the troll body, dragging it. They knock across, cascading down some of the towers of the schools. And further off, across a little area which you can recall, then there was an escarpment heading down in that direction. You can see a larger bodied wolf, but it's got golden amber eyes staring directly over at you.
Are they on the other side of the troll from what you said?
Yes, there's this cave mouth.
Yeah.
You and Gudrun. The fire, which is going pretty well at the moment, lighting the area up. The body where the troll fell, there's half a dozen wolves that kind of got it and are dragging it away. And then further back, you can see this much larger beast with these kind of golden amber eyes looking at you.
I guess there's not much chance of an ambush with
the horse and the pony are not quite happy about this.
Well, I just quickly I will move forward towards wolves because we need to start containing this, and I will just quickly shout, "We have a situation here," and then just proceed to.
Okay, so you move past the fire.
Then I try to keep him behind fire, and yes, we have a situation, and don't make it worse, please. Let the wolves keep their meat. And let ourselves keep our lives. So, if you can understand my tongue,
I don't have to go past I don't have to go past the fire. I'm not. I appreciate what you're saying. I'm thinking of defense at the moment, so I'm not going to attack them. I will stay around the fire area.
They paused when you came out. But emboldened by the lack of action, they kind of start to drag and get a bit more traction. They're kind of pulling the troll's body, kind of like you can see it's leaving a deep smear, particularly from the back of its head, where all the blood and gore is starting to get snagged on the undergrowth and the ground below.
Meanwhile, Gudrun take her bow and put an arrow ready to shot. Try to keep an eye on what the not exactly prudent man is going to do.
Oh, feel free to shoot them. If it pisses them off, I'm happy to receive them.
No.
It's almost like she's getting ready to shoot you as it happens. But
Gudrun is using that to strike the man with arrows, but with her eyes, by the way.
Understood. Are we then at risk of losing any sort of stuff or any of our stock or horses?
Yeah, the horse and the horse and the pony are gathered in the entranceway. They've kind of got this weird situation where they're not particularly keen on going in either direction as it happens. So they're all right where they are, but just we've got a place where it's we'll do here. Gudrun's eyes have a particular strength and quality to them. They're not easily ignored. They're very striking and they communicate quite a lot. And what they're communicating at this point is, don't fuck it up, Arthaniel. Pretty much.
I'll just be itching for a bit of a fight, but I'll wait. Obviously, I'm waiting for the guys, so I'm letting that know to Gudrun as well. Look, until the boys are back, we need to stay put.
Yeah. Okay.
I hear you.
So Gert, you've got this.
Oh, you got a little of sense in your little mind, my man, in the hand.
Perhaps.
She's decided that copy of How to Win Friends and Influence People that she picked up from the Prancing Pony, it just wasn't worth it.
Not worth the read.
Yeah.
We'll make a nice coaster, I guess.
Yeah. So Gert, you've got this map. Thomas is kind of like looking at you a little bit petulantly. He's still kind of like just messing around. There's the coffin there. There's a kind of like puzzle box and the kind of jewels and whatnot. Esteldor's actually, I just found a couple of chickens that were kind of like not alive, kind of like just hanging there. Looked as if they'd been squashed a bit, actually. Kind of like one of the necks is just dangling loosely away. The troll body is getting dragged further and further. This larger wolf with these golden amber eyes is just standing proudly whilst its pack does the work. And then you can hear a bit of tearing as more wolves come and start to dismember kind of like this troll.
Paul, was the coffin empty?
It felt with some heft in it.
Okay. I'll probably shout it back to Gert. Do you know anybody by the name of Dreyfus Longshanks, Gert? Because this is his coffin.
He's been dead these last 3 years, Gert. He was born alone. He drank alone. He died alone. He was missed by the barman of the pony, maybe, and even then, not by much. A miser was Dreyfus Longshanks.
Bit of a loner, he was. Native of Bree. Never met a drink he didn't like, and a man of few words and friends.
Do you think we should gather up the other human remains and bury them rather than leave them here in the cave? Cause...
Absolutely. As Gert's rolling this thing up and putting it in his bag, he's prepping his friend's body with the sack to try and move it towards the front of the cave, towards Bert. So he's going to try and basically have Bert handle the load of, the remains, get it back to its proper place. And so if he'll do it for one Bree man, he's just got to do it for everyone, right? All Bree folk deserve a dignity in death. So, absolutely.
Okay. So the camera pans out slightly from the close-ups of each of you involved, and it kind of sees a little bit more of a top-down view. It sees this pack of wolves rendering the troll's carcass, carrying the meat off into the darkness of the night. The larger jet-black wolf with the golden eyes takes one long look at you, intelligence beyond its kin, and moves off. There's Gudrun and Arthaniel stood looking at each other, playing a game of who's most likely to kill the other one if I do something I'm not supposed to. In the cave, Gert is packaging up the bodies together. Esteldor, Barnak clutching the puzzle box underneath. So I think it's a moment where we can pause a little bit and introduce our cast, introduce the characters. So if we want to just kind of quickly round robin, a bit of introduction to who you're playing, what they look like, what they're about. Feel free to use some game terms if you feel that would help everybody understand. So if we would start with you, Gert, and we'll work that kind of like way around on my screen. So Gert to Esteldor to Barnak to Arthaniel to Gudrun.
Sure. Yeah. So I play Gert Gandry, a regular at the Prancing Pony, a merchant out of Bree who has seen much of the greater world and brings home tales to the people who don't necessarily leave their homes often. Has been known to stretch the details of the story just to get a little bit of extra excitement into the tale. Well regarded generally. He's right up against the edge of middle age and starting to feel the weight of when he travels on the road. He tends to spend longer and longer periods in Bree, recovering from the last journey, and not as excited to get out there as he once was. But he's been a little bit invigorated at this point by the arrival of Barnak and Gudrun. And he's starting to sense that maybe there's some more adventure to be had.
Excellent, fantastic. Thank you very much. And Esteldor.
Yeah, I'm playing Esteldor. He's a Ranger of the North. He's about 22 years old, and he's just been recently posted to defending the borders of the Shire. After some events that occurred to him. In game terms, he's a Ranger champion, so he's quite he's quite forward in attacking most of the time.
Yep. Okay. What does he look like, Esteldor?
He's probably got a bit of stubble, a long, light brown hair. He's wearing a greeny grey cloak with a leather corselet, and he's got his arm bracer on for when he shoots his bow, whenever he's ranged. Most of the time, he's wielding his father's two-handed longsword.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you very much. And Barnak, give us a flavour for who Barnak is.
So Barnak is a dwarf from Erebor, sort of a brown, detached hood, sort of a beard that's of course long, but fairly well trimmed and maintained. So he's a bit of a proud creature, and he is a stonemason, a stone cutter, and a sculptor. And you've currently caught him in the middle of a very, very long journey, a quest, the essence of which is to spread his craft across beyond just his native land, but across as much Middle Earth as he could cover. So he is a little bit overwhelmed in the presence of especially the Rangers, as he's not much of a fighter. He knows, just enough to perhaps survive on the road, so he has a little hand axe and a quite finely made dwarven shield that he promptly hides behind once there's any danger. So kind of Barnak in a nutshell.
Excellent.
The only non-human, I think.
Yes, that's right. Yes, yeah. And Arthaniel.
Yes, okay. Yes, hi. So I'm playing Arthaniel. He is also a ranger of the north, but he's 30, so he's slightly older than my companion. He comes from the west, so he was born quite close to the Blue Mountains and in the little town called Kalernen. This is a kingdom in decline for many centuries now, so the rangers are just involved in mostly patrolling and trying to fight the evil. He left a life of a council leader. There was a bit of politics that the family wanted to drag him into, but he had none of it, and he thought he wanted just to go and wander off and enjoy traveling. He likes a bit of a treasure hunt. I guess this is why he is with this bunch of strangers at the moment. But he, over the travels, he met many dwarves and elves and developed a good relationship with them, but also with other men as well. So he's quite open-minded and open to working with others, other people, that is, other than his kin. But now he's in Bree. He left the kingdom for a bit. He wants a change of pace. He's about rangers, so driving out evil is kind of his thing, and he's strongly for protecting others and making sure that everyone gets home safely. Probably with the treasure, but if not, it's still okay as long as we're back in one piece. That's about it. Yeah, so treasure hunt, I guess, as a calling, which I did mention, and he's tall. He's not too large, but he's obviously not a small man coming from or being descended from Numenor. He's a big Dunedain, long black hair, clean shave, and he's covered in grey cloaks, and there's some leather armor that he obviously wears, but it's mostly different shades of grey, perhaps.
Okay, excellent. And Gudrun.
So, if you want to see the character I am playing with, you shouldn't look at my bearded face, but you should imagine a fair young lady with chestnut-colored hair and with very light eyes that his father say have the light of the lake in them. And however, his fairness is turned in something like a curse in her eyes, because she's always surrounded with guys want to become her master or husband, anyway. So she turned into a messenger with the help of a grey wizard and joined the caravan of Barnak to slip away from her, golden cage in the distant town of Dale, not far from the Erebor, the lonely mountain, and crossed Misty Mountains and came to Bree to bring a parcel to a well-known hobbit in, kind of legendary land in Bree, that is the Shire.
Excellent.
However, the last few minutes disrupted her mythical think about the sense of the hobbits. She thought all hobbits were very brave and courageous and, with a lot of common sense. And the famous spectacle show of Thomas, disrupted all thoughts about it.
Yes, he's a bit petulant. And in fact, you can tell that by the way he's kind of like just sullenly hanging around now with a, is it tea time yet? Gonna have a snack kind of face on him. He's eyeing up those chickens and kind of like that half roasted goat. And in fact, that wineskin.
If you are hungry, you can try. You can start with with what the wolf left to you.
He is less keen on chowing down on raw troll than the wolf pack was, and is not that keen about kind of like the goat either. But it's definitely thinking that he's man enough now, having survived a troll fight, to maybe have a drink of wine. People like that. Is his current opinion of it. So the come down after the battle and the tenseness, the wolves, you think, have kind of like left now. There's still a thick fog and coldness in the air. You've kind of got, I guess, Gert has got the both the coffin and the sack with the other corpse kind of on Bert, kind of lashed there as best you're able. Barnak's got the kind of dwarven treasures, and Gudrun and Arthaniel have been keeping eyes out, but the wolves have not returned. Maybe the troll body will save them. It's late afternoon, as you can are here now. Whatever the dim light that is hiding behind that fog is going to be kind of cruising towards the horizon to become night soon enough.
So Gert kind of he's done packing up Bert, and he kind of steps out of the cave and says, "Where are we? I just realized I have no idea where we are."
In the middle of nowhere, I think.
The South Downs, Esteldor and Arthaniel will know. So you're south of Bree, tucked where the Greenway kind of rises north-south, and the East Road comes across, and the crossroads form the Hill of Bree there. Across the Greenway, maybe 2 or 3 days, you reckon, Rangers, is the old forest as you move in towards the Shire, the Barrow Wise. And kind of the cold fog drifts across from that accursed area into the South Downs. You're a couple of days' journey from Bree. Now that you're not having to kind of like chase a troll, the most sensible route would be to cut west until you hit the Greenway and then kind of like head up north. That way, if you were to want to head your way back. There's nothing here. There's no kind of like homesteads out this far. There are some places that dot along the Greenway, which is one of the main thoroughfares, but largely turned, as its name would indicate, to greenery. It was once the road between the ancient kingdoms of Arnor and Gondor.
So Gert, I guess we take the bodies back to Bree to put them in.
Yes, we must lay them back to rest. And is the fire still going?
Yeah. The fire's definitely going.
So Gert would like to have Thomas gather firewood as best he can from within eye shot. Like, that means don't wander off into the fog. And I ask one of the rangers to make sure that he doesn't just kind of wander off into the fog. Because Gert wants to have a look at this map, and he doesn't want Thomas around when he does it.
I can do that if you want to. I can shadow him.
Yeah, I can check the area as well. I feel like I'll have a little scout around, in the And it's an excuse to move away from the party, so we can sort of a few people are moving away, and.
Okay, so you head off a little to scout Arthaniel. Thomas.
Yeah, I'll say. Yeah, sorry, I'll go with them a bit, and then I'll say, oh, let me just check the area to kind of
Yeah. Thomas is like. and kind of like
you're learning firewood gathering from 2 ranges to the north.
Yeah, I'm probably just like pointing at what's the best wood you can use for the fire. And
he's not paying any attention to whether it's good wood or not.
Is there any like cracks anywhere? I'm, like showing, telling him what to look out for.
You're trying to be like a pedagogue, kind of like teach him this, teach him that. He has no interest. This is a chore. He thought he'd escape these chores. It's not fair.
How old did you say he was, Paul?
Oh, he's probably like 15.
Okay.
Go on, sorry.
Esteldor was probably watching him and thinking when I was his age, I'd probably like already camping off with the other rangers and like learning woodcraft and things.
Yeah, the Rangers of the North, you guys don't survive unless everybody's pulling in the same direction. You're committed. You kind of got the focus. You kind of like you look at this and you're like, to a certain extent, it's a question of why exactly are you protecting this civilization such that it allows it to become like this? There's a little bit of not understood privilege that Thomas is demonstrating in his behaviours right there. He doesn't know quite how easy he's had it. Arthaniel, maybe a little bit disgusted by this, has kind of like moved off. I'm going to go and scout. Off he kind of like goes. Barnak, Gudrun, and Gert are kind of like left back by the warmth of the fire.
Okay. Yeah, the Bree folk are definitely privileged in their location and, sat atop their hill and not really having to concern themselves too much with things that go bump in the night unless they happen to leave. So I want to take this map out and try and see. Well, first off, I want to see if it is an actual map or what exactly this is. And so I'll kind of set it out on a bit of stone or something by the firelight so I can make sure I've got a good view of it. And I'm not too concerned if Barnak and Gudrun want to look at it. I just want to try to find out why he was so obsessed with it and why my old friend insisted on being buried with it and having it wrapped around a boot. And just, I find the whole thing odd.
Yeah. Okay. So you roll this out. It's kind of it's on parchment. You reckon probably goat skin parchment, so it's got a bit of flex to it. Well, and particularly with the amount of moisture that's gathered around it at the moment. And one of the corners looks like it's got some corpse ichor on it, kind of like darkened a little bit, but it's about a foot square. There's kind of a little bit of ash gathered around it, and some of the corners look as if they're burned a little bit. But what it does is it's definitely a map. And it depicts the area around Bree. You think you've got a road going upwards, a road coming across. You kind of got circles and such like for some of the towns. Little pictures of trees and hills around. There are no named locations on it at all. And there are some form of dwarven runes writ around the edge. You know they're dwarven runes, but more than that you could not say, Gert.
Barnak, have a look here.
What are we looking at?
Well, this is what the young Thomas was keen to get his hands on. Though I've shared much time with the dwarves, I have not learned any of your languages. I know two or three words to get me by.
So there's an arrow, which as Gert naturally kind of like had orientated it pointing to the top, but you just spin it around because dwarven maps, the arrow points to the east. That's the convention, and written in the runes of Angathas Moria, which is a nice kind of, you had it the wrong way around, Gert. Written in the runes of Angathas Moria. A mode of writing common to the dwarves of the north. Along the north edge of the map, there reads, "Here of old was Arthur Dane, last king." Along the west of the map, there it reads, "Here are halflings in multitude." To the east, the runes read, "Here of old was the road to Durin's gate." And to the south, "Hence came the company to seek treasure." The runes would not be known to anyone other than a dwarf, and you think that this is dwarven writ. Make a craft roll as you're kind of like observing this.
Oh, all right. I like doing that. These ones are favored for me. Oh, that's I mean, I don't have to. So that is a.
Just tell me. You don't need to show me.
Gandalf.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness me! That's pretty.
So that's
like, you're like, I drew this map.
Yeah, that's right.
My uncle.
Oh, that's where I put the thing.
So normally you would be able to like spend tenguars on specific things, but I don't think any of them particularly apply kind of like here. So you're going to learn pretty much everything that there is to know about this map, really. So as you kind of like look at it and you're feeling it, the orientation of it makes it plain, even for a visitor such as yourself. That this is Bree land. It's centered on Bree land. It was definitely dwarven made. You suspect by one of the dwarves of the Blue Mountains, given the kind of like nature of the style of the writing, not something that you would encounter natively with an Erebor, but you saw this kind of calligraphy on the goods that were brought in from the Blue Mountains, and the letter, in fact, that you kind of like had commissioned for you to be taking your masterwork across the Blue Mountains is a very similar hand. You reckon probably maybe about 20 years ago, and it would have definitely, it's been burned. Parts of it have been burned, and it looks like kind of a candle or something has been held up, kind of like around it, and the smoke is adhering to it. And with the double tenguar, you would know that a map of this nature probably has some kind of dwarven craftsmanship or hidden and occulted writing within it. You know, maybe if you looked under the moon, or if you kind of like got some blood on it, or there's something, because whilst the shape is there, the structure is there, any clues or any suggestions of what the secrets contained has been definitely hidden by some of that dwarven skill and that dwarven magic.
Well, I heard an incredible thing about the Dwarves map. Legend about it. Lately, it was a map I heard that brought a company of Dwarves to Erebor. And, well, you know how it's gone. A dragon was killed and a kingdom restored. I wonder what kind of treasure is hidden behind these mysterious signs on this map. And by the way, I heard by a wizard saying that there was sign hidden in the map of Thorin, the prince that is buried behind the Erebor. Runes that could be read only by the light of the moon. Dwarves, I heard, have many have many way of hide their secrets, isn't it?
Yeah. So there's definitely no like X marks the spot map. It's just
There is
laying up with some like
no X mark for the spot, and as Gudrun has suggested, it's you suspect that there's some magic at play concealing this.
But just a question, my dear companion and dwarf. If one use a candle to light map, why it is burned by behind it? The candle should stay on top, and maybe you can say a drop of wax and on it. Not
maybe try to reveal it by firelight.
Why?
Can we hold it up to the torch or to the campfire?
Yeah, you kind of
Will that burn it? It is not parchment though, right? It's like goat skin or something.
It's heavy. It's like thick. It's almost like leather, really.
Well, I don't happen to have a candle on me.
So I think I've got enough wood, Esteldor. I'm just going to take it back. He's got like 3 bits of wood.
No, it's not nearly. Go back out.
Can I see the group looking at the map?
Yeah, so Thomas has been like watching over your shoulders. You've been saying, right, so what you want to do is you want to get different sizes of wood, because you need the smaller wood to get the flame going, and you want the bigger wood, and it's just like, what the fuck,
like,
mate?
And then Esteldor's like, that's a nice piece of fat wood right there.
I mean, look at the burning on that. And you can see that they're holding the group gathered around the map, like holding up to the fire. They're having quite an animated conversation. As they've been having that animated conversation, the voices have got a little bit louder and such like.
Can I just try and like gently turn him round?
Oh yeah, you're a big, strong warrior. He's a kind of like 15-year-old kid. Yeah,
that's not enough wood anymore. I'll lead him over a bit further away.
Yeah, okay, yeah. He's reluctantly kind of like looking at across what's that doing. Now the wood that you've been burning, you kind of like you got your own wood to kind of like get it going and such like in the fire, but then you kind of had to get some of the other wood around, and it's all quite wet, so it's giving off quite voluminous smoke. Like just as wet would do it. As you bring the map kind of like closer, the smoke just wreaths around it. It's not setting fire, and it starts to reveal bits as the kind of like smoke and the smoke from the fire settles down on the map. It looks like it's of the kind of smoke letters, which is one of the dwarven kind of like magical skills. And letters appear. They mark a site where, if the map's orientated in the way that you think it is, would be within the Midwater Marshes. Barnak runes, dwarven runes appear that read, "Here lies the Black Barrow." And reasonably close to that, the dwarven runes read, "Here is the King's Chair."
King's
Chair. Yeah. So these dwarven runes have appeared with the smoke wreathing around them, but Gudrun and Gert, you're unable to read. Barnak kind of like nods knowingly.
Barnak, what's that? What does that review? I've got to learn Dwarvish.
Well, it's like
Gert pulls out his to-do list. Learn Dwarvish.
All time, I think. Teaching you, but yes, it seems like as I look at the bones at the back of the cavern and stuff, it looked like dwarven ones. It seems like some of my folk are seeking this Black Barrow and so so this would be mighty interesting to find out.
I feel like Black Barrow doesn't sound very inviting.
Not at all.
It doesn't. I would much like to have a look at what this chair is, as it's most likely magnificent.
I propose we make for Bree study this map
No, yes, of course.
on the way and investigate this further, of course. I feel like I start to get a sense that Thomas is starting to like wander back towards us, and I just yell out, Thomas, there are also supposed to be some fine mushrooms around this area if you wouldn't mind gathering some of those.
Esteldor rubs his hand. Is like, yeah, mushrooms. Actually, that's another one of mine. Thomas is like, oh, come on. Gudrun and Gert, you both make the law rolls for me, please.
Law?
Yeah, law.
I can help him with spending 1 point of hope instead.
I got a Gandalf.
Oh, okay.
Excellent. So because you've lived here all your life, Gert, and Gudrun, because of kind of like the songs, the folklore, that kind of like you've heard from around the various parts of Middle Earth. You
I got the Gandalf myself.
There you go then. So Gudrun, you recall.
So is it like Gert thinks he knows the idea, and then Gudrun's just like, but actually,
if you wanted to be,
do I get well actually?
Quite possibly. Well, so Gert, you suspect it might be the king's chair. Could be a reference. There's a stone chair that rises a little bit out of the swamp in the Midgewater marshes, which is supposed to be the top of a sunken mansion from times gone by. And Gert can recall Gudrun can recall a kind of like song about a mansion sinking down and the king's chair resting atop as part of kind of like a folklore and such like ability. So whilst you've got the kind of like factual, oh, this is what it is, Gudrun's is a much more poetic telling of the tale, I guess.
Okay.
It was just a fairy tale. It told me my grandmother. But well, it seems to fit very well with this map. That sounds strange to me.
Gudrun, you will find many of the fairy tales are true out there. And, they're not all happiness and light either.
I hope not, because a lot of every fairy tale, in fact, has a lot of, unwelcoming monsters in the end of them. I don't like to meet them.
You're a troll slayer now, though.
That's like the troll we just, killed.
Arthaniel, as you're kind of like ranging around, maybe a scan roll. As Gudrun was talking about the troll she killed, she kind of looked over at this kind of like big black stain of blood where the body was dragged through the kind of like ground. There's bits of rendered flesh and skeletal remains where it's been taken apart. Sorry, Arthaniel.
No, it's okay. I realized I was on mute. So I pictured myself sitting on one of the edges of the rock. I don't know how we go into smoking because I know they killed it, kind of. I don't want to bring it in the game if it's not going to be sort of celebrated, but I could see myself sitting there, have a little pipe weed, and just scanning the area, making sure it's okay. Just reflecting on what happened. So you want me to do a scan roll?
Yeah.
12. Target number. No. No, still no. I've got 13, so it's a near miss.
Yeah, so you don't see anything particular as you're scouting around, you feel like you've got a reasonably secure location with the cave, though, and the kind of like you feel like the sun is starting to set. The temperature's getting even worse, and the fog is starting to get a little bit thicker.
Okay, well, I'll come down and report to the guys. I think we'll probably make camp from here. So I'll make my way back.
Esteldor's talking at great length about what the colour of the mushroom's gills mean to the flavour.
Paul, could I actually do a roll to try and find some mushrooms?
Yeah, of course. Make a
explore.
Yeah, go for
it. Be hunting or.
Oh yeah, which one would it be?
I don't mind. Pick one. I mean, it's not you don't really sit in a trap or putting an arrow in a mushroom and you're going like hunting around for them. So I don't mind either.
Well, I've got pretty good. I've got 8 on the D12.
Yeah.
So I've got 21 altogether, and my target numbers are 13, and I've got a Tengwar on my 6.
Oh, okay. So what do you want to do with the Tengwar? So you can spend the Tengwar to kind of like get beneficial results. Ordinarily, you can kind of go faster, you can affect more things, you discover something more about this whole area.
Also, you could also have hints about not related with your task.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Some gain some insight. That's right. Yeah. I guess you could spend the as you kind of like getting some mushrooms. You are spending more time with Thomas, so there's an opportunity to spend that Tengwar to gain some insight about Thomas.
Oh yes, please. Yeah. I might question him a little bit, like So yeah, how well did you know your uncle? You said you was his favourite, and I'll ask some more like, probing questions as I'm like picking mushroom.
Yeah. So a little bit of a melancholy comes across him, and he's calmed down a little bit now. The physical activity and being taken about it. He pulls his cloak around himself a little bit, and he comes to be closer to you because he's realised maybe the danger that's gathered around. Yeah, I always used to be around there, and he was fun. He always let me off a few chores. He was always generous with whatever he had. Don't think him and my dad got along so well. Dad's, I mean, I love him and everything, but it can be a bit of a pain at times. It's always, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to look after that, you got to care for your mum. I know all of that. I know it all. I don't need telling him. An uncle didn't need to tell me that. He taught me how to whittle, taught me how to keep a knife sharp. And I think he saw in me some of himself. He used to say that. He used to say that I was more like him than I was like my dad. And he said, when time comes, he'd pass it all on to me. And I don't know. He fell out with my dad, and my dad said I wasn't supposed to be going around there, and I just didn't see him quite so much. But that map should come to me. If I can get that, I can do something. If you're in Bree, if you're not one of the established families, there's nothing for you. You don't know what it's like, you rangers. You don't have these chores, you don't have these duties, you have these responsibilities. Just constantly tied to the place, and we're like at the bottom of the pecking order, and we don't have the money, and nothing ever moves. And if I got that, I could get a place. And I'd see my family right, of course I would. I guess, but I know I've been a bit of a dick. Alright.
It's you.
Do you have to agree? I'm having a moment here. But I just want a future. I want to be able to do something with myself. That's all. Look, we've got a load of mushrooms, we've got a load of wood. Come on, let's head back.
I'll probably put.
I'm not going to steal the map or anything. Look, I can see the way that Gert looks at me now. I'll be all right.
I'll just pat him on the shoulder and say, well, your time will come. You're only 15.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, what were you doing at 15? I bet you were having to scull around and wash the pots and gather the water and stuff like that, were you? I mean, you got a sword.
No, yeah, but that took time. And no, at 15, I was out with the other rangers.
See what I mean? Anyway, yeah, and he like tries to calm himself down. He tries to count to 10, but he gets lost somewhere around 5. Look, I don't know. It kind of overcame me. I'm all right now. Okay, I'm all right now. But the map is my family's.
Well, we'll see.
Okay, yeah.
It's always best not to look after treasure. It can lead to some dangerous paths as you've seen today with the troll. So you shouldn't rush into things.
Oh, Arthaniel rushed into it. He was straight in it.
He was trying to rescue you, as we all were.
Yeah.
He's more experienced than me as well.
I guess.
So,
I guess I did put you in a bit of danger, didn't I?
Yes, we had a plan, and you went against the plan. So hopefully you've learned to stick to a plan and follow your friends as a group.
Yeah. That's exactly what I learned, Esteldor. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe we should head back to the fire now and keep you warm.
He's already back at the fire.
And he's like...
He kind of like comes in and kind of like Esteldor's like, a little bit behind him. He kind of goes, I've got something to say. I'm sorry about going against the plan, and I'm sorry about being disrespectful to my uncle. And he kind of looks expectantly at you, Gert.
Well, Master Thomas, that was very big of you. I look at the rest of the group. Apology accepted.
Gert nods. Yes, you do your uncle proud, knowing the first step is always admitting that you've made a mistake.
So what did you learn from the map then?
Well, it's dwarvish, so I don't know how your uncle came up about it, or how it could be a family heirloom, since it was clearly made by a dwarf.
Could it be when he was like out?
Was maybe was your uncle friend of any dwarves?
Yeah.
Before you answer me, let me tell you one thing that I learned, because Dale is a town very close to a dwarf city, and dwarves are very jealous with their treasure and maps, and usually they don't give their map to any man, neither hobbits, by the way. And so I wonder how your uncle find a dwarf map in his hands or jacket.
Well, he I don't know. I mean, when he was younger, he didn't stay in Bree all the time. That's one of the things he said. He said about me, like he got out of the place and he went into the world, and maybe he met with some dwarves, and maybe the dwarves gave him a map. That must be it. That must be it.
But how old was your uncle?
He was in his early 50s.
Okay. So the map is about 20 years old, so he would have encountered the map the earliest in his 30s.
Yeah. And good. This is kind of like consistent with the time frame that he kind of like came back into Bree in the company of the Ranger and whatnot.
Yeah, and Gert wasn't really much older than Thomas at that time, so.
Yeah.
And he recalls feeling that first tug at the wider world around that time as well. So he lightens up a little bit on Thomas. He recognizes that the passions of youth kind of make you do really silly things. So he puts his arm on his shoulder and says, "Well, we've got a lot more to learn, and I think we need to delve a little bit deeper into your uncle's past before we can determine exactly what this map leads to."
Yes, so
and whom it belongs to. I'm not completely sure that the map really belonged to your uncle. I'm sorry to say that, but we need to be sure, because anyway, otherwise it would start a feud with the dwarfs that maybe wrote this map. So we should be careful.
Spoken like a true Dale folk.
So what are we going to do? We're going to go and talk to the sheriffs, or?
Well, first we're going to get out of this nasty place.
Stinking place, by the way.
Oh, by the way, if we are going to be stuck here overnight, can we do something about the strong urine smell?
Just answer it.
I'm not cleaning it, Thomas is. Look, I've been to the stables enough times. Why do I have to do all the dirty jobs? Arthaniel kind of comes in from the darkness of the into the firelight.
Mm-hmm. I guess you know that we're staying here overnight. But there is nothing out there immediately. I think the wolves are cleared for now, but we must take watch. I'll start, because this is a dangerous land. We have to be careful.
Well, unless I'm mistaken, Esteldor has provided us with a small feast of mushrooms that we can use to supplement our rations.
Nice.
And more firewood that can get stacked up to try to dry out as close to the fire as it's able to.
Is it now 4 branches of wood, 1 large and 3 small?
That's exactly right. One of them you wouldn't really call a branch, frankly.
Twig.
That's right. What's for tea? So I do I enjoy playing a petulant teenager? I don't know. It's up there with old women in my repertoire. Look at that. Okay, so you're setting watches and all that kind of stuff, getting the bedrolls out around the fire.
Yeah.
You're sleeping in the cave, you're sleeping outside the cave.
No, not in the cave at all. It's stinking, it's dirty, is well. And by the way, I tried to find if the cave could be closed somehow. Maybe the troll had a kind of a stone, a big stone, or a door somewhere.
Not really. I guess the entrance to the cave kind of curves slightly around, so that it was not wholly open to the elements within. But there's no big stone that it rolls across the entranceway that you've seen.
Or maybe we could camp a bit, put a bit of a distance between us and this stinking cave. I don't want to be in the same place also where the wolf ranted the corpse of this monster. Well, in fact, I want to forget this monster completely if I can.
But we've only just lit the damn fire.
Well, we can light a fire somewhere in some other place. Don't worry about it.
I'm no great tactician, but I feel that it does provide us a defensible position should the wolves return.
And it may also be difficult to persuade our young junior here to get even more firewood.
Yes, as night is clearly here. Thomas is, and I don't want Thomas out there anyway.
He's probably already getting himself into somebody's sleeping bag and just not.
What he's likely doing is taking the piece of firewood that he brought and is putting mushrooms on it and kebabbing it.
That's exactly right what he's doing. And then he's kind of getting the embers and writing.
Well,
mushroom or marshmallows? What they got?
There's a distinct lack of marshmallows to be found in the wild of the South Downs. It has to be said. Tolkien was silent on the matter. Sorry, Barnak.
Let's sleep in the near the mouth of the cave, so we're sort of still in the cave, but there's circulation of air. So sort of the best of both worlds that we can get here.
Yeah. Okay. So you kind of settle to wherever you want to settle, really. The Rangers protectively take the bulk of the watchers, and nothing much happens overnight apart from Gert having to get up and have a piss every 20 minutes, like any man of a certain age, and Thomas snores well beyond his years, and the fog is still present the next morning, but it's starting to get pierced a little bit by the light of the early morning sun. which way do you want to head back to Bree? You can basically go north and across, which would cut you across the South Downs to hit the East Road. Then you can go west until you hit the Greenway, and then up that way.
Question. Before we set off, could Gudrun try to read the tracks of the wolves to understand which way they went?
Yep, of course. Yeah. So that would be, I think, a hunting roll.
Yes. I try again.
Probably with a bonus dice because it's so obvious for a large part of the way, given that they were kind of like carrying large chunks of troll with them.
$16, exactly, an exact success.
Excellent. So yes, it's reasonably easy. Certainly in the morning, kind of like light to kind of see where they dragged. They dispersed a little bit, but the main body of them seemed to kind of keep going, and it headed across down the escarpment that's on the other side, along the valley, and you start to now get a reasonable distance away from the rest. But it looks as if there's a set of caves in a low escarpment of rock that runs east-west, which as the South Downs do. And it looks as if into those caves they headed.
So, having saw that in the eve of day, then Gudrun say to the two rangers, so I don't know which way you want to take for Bree. However, if we want to keep ourselves out of danger, we should not tread the track of the wolves, So maybe please don't this way. And if my eyes didn't betray me, they lair should be in that cave over there. So don't go this way, but some other. Your choice, but
that's
of course.
Yes, yeah, Gudrun, of course. They speak much sense. With the party as such, I think we would want to choose the safest option to travel to Bree. So yeah, you had some good hunting skills. Be
Okay.
much useful.
So essentially, if you head west, you'll hit the road sooner, but you stick in the South Downs for a bit longer. If you head north, you get to the South Downs sooner, but then you're cutting across open country to kind of like get to the Great East Road.
And then which way is the lair that Gudrun has identified with the pack of wolves?
So west, you'd have to kind of like cycle past that if you were to kind of get to the Greenway soonest.
Well, since you suggested that, Gudrun, perhaps we should head north. But it's all up for discussion. We're not in any way experts here. Let's just have a discussion. But I would probably suggest going north. Because of what you said about the wolves.
Yes,
No,
I would have preferred the Greenway, but it seems that there's a pack of hungry wolves between us and there. So trust to the north.
Okay. So you kind of pack up, break camp. Thomas helps with that. It seems to have woken with a little bit of renewed vigor. He's genuinely trying to help out. He's kind of like At one point, he actually just gets in the bloody way, and no, you don't fasten the harness like that, like this. But he's at least kind of like trying to help, and he seems to have a little bit of an affinity for Esteldor. He's kind of like hanging with Esteldor a little bit. You break camp, so let's start a journey. So
like that. See, you gathering firewood is a rite of passage. It bonds the spirit.
That's right.
Don't forget the mushrooms as well. There's nothing like bonding people over a mushroom collecting.
It's an old tradition.
It spans Arkansas to Finland, it would seem.
And hearten the hearts of the travelers. Gudrun drew a fine carved harp from her sack and starts to sing a song from her town.
Very nice. What's the song about? What's the topic of the song?
The topic of the song is the hunt of the white deer from the king of the elves in when the wood was green and the lake, the long lake, was not tainted by the blood, the dark blood of a dragon.
Excellent. So, do you want to make a song roll? Good.
Sure. So the harp is a useful item of Gudrun, so it can use it. So it's a great success with the Tangwa.
Excellent. So is there anything that you particularly want to spend that Tangwa for? For instance, you could, I could say you could spend that Tangwa and everybody kind of could, what rolls are we going to be making? It'll be the marching tests. Everybody can kind of get bonus dice from the marching tests as they're kind of like enheartened by the song.
Maybe for our guide, because his mind is lighter, and so it could focus more on the trail and not so much on the dark recollection of the night past, the past night.
Yes. Yeah. So
cool.
Absolutely like
jolly good.
All right.
Lifting of spirits is in need.
Yeah, the song talks of the great oaks of the green forest. There's no mention of the darkness or the spiders and the crystal blue of the lake, set against the snow-capped grey mountains and the shoulders of Erebor, and as the mountain like a star falls down, and how the elven king prances and moves with grace and beauty in the dance with the white deer, and how they duck and dive and follow each other through. All of you kind of like get a little bit of a skip and a step as you kind of like imagine this deer moving through this pristine woodland. So the journey path is kind of like upwards and along, which by my reckoning is 1, 2, 3 hexes. So we need to get some rolls. So guide, hunter, lookout, scout, and you have to get the guide covered, and only one hero can be the guide.
We have 2 rangers. I mean, we're living the dream here.
I mean,
I think so.
Yeah, I'm proficient in hunting, and I've got 3 pips in that as well. What about Arthaniel? What's his
Yeah, I
stat?
wouldn't put my hand up very hastily for a guide unless I'm pushed. So yeah, I mean, if someone has a better travel than two,
I've only got 2 in travel, and no efficiency.
because basically what I'm trying to say, I have very open eyes and I can see things as a lookout, but it'll probably take us on a scenic route because I'm going to be a little bit, left and right.
Well, I have 2.
Well, here's the thing. Stat-wise, I have 3 points in travel, but I'm just thinking, Barnak is it's his first time in this landscape at all, so I don't think he has any idea what's going. So he would try to go for a look at all of it.
You could also think about the guide as the person that keep the group together, not exactly those who chose the route.
That's a good point.
You should take this animal, stick together, and you should walk at this pace and so on. That is kind of
That's a
manager.
good point, Gudrun.
All right, so I'm sort of the executive manager of the escapade here.
Yeah, you're project managing, exactly, because
Yeah.
I don't think any. I mean, I'm certainly not familiar with this area. I'm fairly new to Bree, so.
Gert would be, but I've only got a 2 in travel. He a lot of the secret is Bert actually usually just knows the way back to Bree.
Yeah.
So Gert pretty much just lets Bert kind of lead the way a lot of times.
I see Gert as a great
this is our
quartermaster.
guide.
So maybe let's do roll the travel.
Okay, so Barnak is going to take the roll of guide. Yeah, okay.
All right.
Who will take Hunter?
Oh, I will. I could do Hunter.
Okay. Lookout. Arthaniel's lookout. Scout.
What's the scout skill?
The scout
Explore.
is tested on.
Yeah, so
I can help the ranger as a hunter.
Yeah.
well then that leaves Gert and his one die and explore. We're gonna make this happen. Don't worry about it.
We got this.
Okay. Those are the rules then. Okay. So you're moving through the South Downs. Okay. So if you can make the travel roll for me, guide.
Yeah, that was barely success, but with so basically my is a 17. I rolled an 18, but with 2 tank bars.
With Tangwas.
Yeah, again. I rolled a 2 on my feet die. Because success die really helped me out here.
Okay, so I couldn't make out what you said. Sorry, did you get success and
So it's only a success, because I rolled an 18 over a 17, but with 2 tanks.
2 Tangwas, right? Okay, cool. So you the event will take place at the distance of 5 hexes, though you're only actually traveling 3 hexes. So I'm going to say that it's a relatively straightforward journey. So the South Downs, as you kind of move out of this valley that you've been in, the South Downs are undulating, quite bare hills. There's not deep grass or anything along those lines. There's not masses of vegetation over. As you kind of rise up out of one of the valleys, you see the thick fog settled in the valley below you, starting to burn off. In some ways, it's just beautiful, and you can kind of feel a sense of what this might have been like in safer times. and then you kind of swoop down. It's quite hard going, and you box yourself into a bit of a one-way canyon, and you have to kind of bring yourself back, and you're trudging along, and underfoot is really quite hard as you kind of have to kind of like zigzag up some of the quite steep escarpments. But you can see as kind of like, you know, the day turns into night, and the night turns into day. You can see Bree Hill kind of like off into the distance, and the road snakes kind of through. And then you kind of come off the South Downs, you start to move out into some of the more arable land. There's no great farms particularly dotted around here. There are homesteads. And at one point, Gert, you think you've been invited in for some homemade scones and a cup of tea. But times have changed in the last few years, and the rangers will know this. Life has got more dangerous out here in the wilds. And you see more of insular behaviour, protective behaviour. As soon as anybody catches sight of the rangers, they kind of move the kids under their arm and they're in their house, door being closed. And there are a couple of the buildings that you kind of skirt across that seem to be not old enough to become ruins, but have been deserted in recent times. One of them scorched through with blackness there. Arthaniel and Esteldor, you scout this out a little bit and you can find the marks of orc work. A kind of hacked door frame, a kind of scabrous arrowhead. And you hit the Great East Road, raised as it is, Midgewater Marsh covered in its black clouds of midges, and you move them forward. Bree Hill in front of you. The great kind of surroundings of Bree itself. Gert's feeling like he's getting home. He's already thinking about the stories he's going to be telling in the Prancing Pony. Is there a way in which he could claim that he managed to get the arrow to shimmy off his shoulder and that deflected it into the eye of the troll? Do you reckon Gudrun would remember that that's not all what happened? All kinds of questions of that nature. The second night is spent kind of in the safety of the roads, really, out in open camp. And then you kind of come through middle afternoon as you walk into the kind of safety of Bree. Bustling Bree compared to what you were before. Thomas seeks to become invisible within your group, kind of like keeping as close to the horse and to the pony as is possible. But others that see you come up, oh, what happened? What happened? Lots of interest in that kind of discussion. But I think we'll end the session there. Just as you enter into Bree, having arrived back in safety.